Ark Survival Ascended is finally here. A great dinosaur game with a complete overhaul of both UI, graphics and dinosaurs. I will have to spend 100 days on the island with my buddy Akisa to uncover the lost artifacts by going through multiple hazardous caves, collecting the artifacts and defeating all of the bosses on Alpha. But will I be able to do this in 100 days? Well, to find that out, I gotta put this to the test, so let's get over to the beach, shall we? I spawned in South Zone 2 bright and early into the morning. Then I had to start gathering some resources for essential tools, and I noticed that the UI and my new look has changed a lot. I made a few tools and a spear to scare off the wildlife. This was recorded on a running friend server, so we weren't really alone. So there will be bits here and there, of course. I met the Kisa on the beach and she quickly ran away from me. Then I went and looked for something to kill. I spotted my first dino to kill, but the dillo didn't get killed by one spear, so I panicked and I made a new one. But that one broke as well as soon as I killed it. Great. I made a campfire to cook my kill and learn a few engrams along the way, but then I found his friend that I quickly disposed of as well. I was starting to have some sort of a complex with my height since I made my test character an actual Giga Chad. I tried changing my field of view to see if it helped, but no, it did not help at all. So I'm just gonna have to deal with this for so many story videos in the future. I had then arrived at the beautiful peaceful lake where I would build my starter base. For people who haven't played yet and isn't familiar with Asa, you will now find parents with their babies that you can tame, but you will have to kill or tame the parent if you want their baby. That is pretty neat in my opinion, it's very cool. I was trying to feed my Lystro when Akisa arrived. Even the map had been revamped. It was glorious. Damn, it looks really clean. I picked up an Ammonite Explorer note that was close to me to level up a bit. Akisa wanted me to give the tribe a proper name, so I named it after my Discord. While Akisa was accepting my tribe invite, I was trying to still feed the Lystro. It was a pain feeding it for some reason. Wait until it's hungry! It's hungry! It has zero food! Come on! So me and Akisa weren't planning on living together, but we will do all of the dungeons and bosses together however, since Akisa has started making her own Asa videos. My chat asked me to name my Lystro Motion Shops on Wish. I actually streamed the very first days for my 100 days video. Finally, I made my first bola, so then I will be able to get my first flyer. The first one I spotted wasn't too much of a treat, but I found one nearby that was quite decent, at least for a first flyer. I started blasting it with my slingshot and it eventually went sleepy sleep, so I gave it a bunch of meat and I left it to tame up. On my way back home, I ran into Parasaur baby without its mommy, so I adopted it. Akisa had to make fun out of my building style before I even started building. She has no faith in me.
Oh, I'm going to build a beautiful wood base and you're not invited. You can stay in whatever cube you build.
Okay, that was so mean. I feel offended. In the midst of confusion, I was being robbed of 6 flint. I had no clue what it took from me and I was quite disappointed when I realized it. Well, my pterodon got tamed up while I was fighting a couple of compies. All sorts of things are happening right now. I brought the pterodon back to base, but I was not able to make a saddle just yet since I was lacking both the level and the chitin. So I ran around looking for some explorer notes and grabbing them to level up a bit.
Many tribes have made.
And before the day was over, I made a bow to fend off foes easier, at least from a range. This is rather a cool function you have on your weapons. By holding down the R button, you can make the ammo instead of jumping into the inventory. That is super convenient. And then obviously, as you can see, you can track the recipes as well. So this Parasaur was gonna be the perfect sacrifice for my hide. I found a family of dodos that I quickly took care of also. Akisa gave me a building challenge, and that was to make something that doesn't look like a banana box.
It's okay. At least now you'll have a high definition box.
I gathered the rest of the wood so I can make the raft. I didn't have much food on me, and if I were to travel far away from this place, I probably want to have some more cooked meat. Me and Akisa headed out in search of metal, and we heard some concerning sounds in the ocean.
Those noises are very concerning.
There were even a couple of alphas the way we were heading.
Is that an alpha megalodon up ahead or
Oh, that's an alpha, I think.
no?
Is that a raptor on the beach? That's a alpha raptor!
I think that we should just be running around like Bola out.
What do you mean? I'm just gonna run guns blazing. Well, I guess bows blazing.
Bows blazing.
We discovered some raptors on our trail and quickly killed them off. One of them was having a baby lurking nearby. My pick broke in the middle of chopping down a rock for its minerals, and I tried repairing it only to get attacked by a Troodon. But he wasn't quite alone. Oh god. Whilst running back to my body, I heard a raptor call nearby, so yeah. Okay. Agisa actually offered to help me to get my body back, but we also picked up an explore note nearby. It's very hard to spot your own death bag sometimes, but luckily there is a tracker. Akisa wanted to leave, but I wanted more metal and the explore note, of course. Ugh, the crystal produced a very ear-bleeding sound. Ugh, I don't like it at all.
I would trust few.
As soon as I saw the open ocean, I saw some concerning lights blinking at the bottom of my screen.
Oh, I died.
Akisa couldn't survive all the way to the dodo, which wasn't exactly that far.
Woo! Hi, Doug.
On day 3, we made it back safe and sound, so I had to get a move on building a box for the forge and such, since I own just like a few dinos and a campfire. Akisa told me how much metal she made it out with on that entire adventure.
On that whole adventure, do you want to know how much metal I came away with, by the way?
Sure.
It was 6.
What? You did all that for 6 metal? That's... Building mechanics have changed by a lot, and I do mean it. You can now raise or lower the foundations as you see fit. I didn't have enough hide for a forge, but conveniently a bird flew past my beach. With the 3 crystal I harvested, I had to gather a bit of hide so I could make the spyglass. This is one unique feature with the torch now. You can now turn it into a crotch torch. And I must say, the lighting in this game is absolutely sick. I went back out to find more dinos to kill, since hide was my only weakness right now. So metal had been melted into ingots so I can make myself a smithy and get some better tools. Finally, I got a decent couple of tools now, so no more of this primitive trash. I was in need of narcotics, but I didn't have any raw meat to spoil, so I decided to split all the cooked meat I owned instead. Oh well, back to harvesting hide. I was in dire need of a parasaur saddle so I could gather berries. I swear to God, these birds are an atrocity even an arc ascended. Yeah, exactly. You dropped your weapon! I kidnapped Akisa's precious Doug, but I failed miserably. Back at base, I made the saddle and I started chomping away the bushes for narco berries. Now, this is a very new cool feature. You can now adjust the range whenever you ride a tame by holding down left alt on your keyboard. I made a bit of narcotics for trank arrows, so I could get something cool. One of my viewers wanted me to name the parasaur Patricia. I think it's a very fitting name. I killed off a turtle with my new crossbow. The keratin would be very useful for a pterodon saddle. Is that you? Akisa was nearby too, so I knocked her out with 1 rock. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect that to happen. Oh. What? No! From 1 rock? I then continued on my journey to find bugs for keratin, but I couldn't still see any, so I killed this turtle for it instead. So this is very cool. But weapons and armor will now show degradation, so you can like see when it's starting to break. My day was coming to an end when I decided to run into the forest during night time. I found the bugs, but some Troodons found me. It seemed they got scared from the flame of my torch, but I got knocked out. Yeah, this really sucks. Just because I was so desperate for kiting, I died and I am so far away from my body. Like, oh my god. Ah, it did not feel safe. So yet again, I found myself in trouble. Well. I had to stop by Akisa's house and admire the style of it. The lighting in this game makes it even better.
I've definitely... No! Don't throw Doug in the water!
I once again made it into the forest, but I had a raptor to worry about this time. This new dino pathfinding made it so the raptor figured out how to climb the rock. Well, the raptor didn't want to leave me alone, so I had no choice but to work on making a spear. Man, my luck is just horrible. This time I got the tickle chicken to chase me down instead. Just somehow I actually made it back to my bag and I grabbed my stuff. What a horrible mess. All this for kiting. After running in complete circles around the jungle, I finally stumbled upon some bugs, giving me the last remaining chitin for a saddle. While heading home, my Moser Shops from Wish was killed by a stupid bird. What? No. Oh well, the loss of the Mo Shops will be remembered. But now, I was able to use my Pterodon.
Oh no, you know what I just realized?
What?
You're not a high enough level to ride a Pelicornis yet.
Really? It's even higher level than a Pterodon. While Akisa wasn't home, I kidnapped her dog and I placed him in a safe spot. I filled up Doug's inventory so Akisa wouldn't be able to get him down from there.
Doug, why are you stuck?
Well, enough of the funny business. I decided to head out and do an explore note run to level up a notch. Now take it, I am no professional where all of these notes are. I only know a handful of where they are. We discovered a very interesting command you can use to turn off the water. It's kinda broken that you're allowed to use it, but goddamn, the ocean was gorgeous. The ocean's kinda beautiful if you ask me. Holy crap. The drops have even been redesigned. They look clean as heck. So, I had acquired a lot of levels from my note run, giving me access to electricity and such. So I grabbed as much metal as my Pterodon could carry back home. As day 5 was sneaking in, I grabbed a really bad drop on my way home. I couldn't really decide what to work on next, except looking around for certain areas. I saw a rhino chasing a Tapejara. I kinda wanted that rhino despite it being low level, but I was really not ready for it yet. The helicopter saw me and it chased me down instead. It's a good thing I had stamina left or I would be a tasty meal for the bug. I was actually trying to look for a proper base spot for now that was close to the center of the map. Now, the loot drop seems to be somewhat more decent, some good juicy cementing paste. My build would probably be somewhat close to this river here, but for now I could go off looking for beaver dams. After doing a lot of note runs, I was able to unlock all of the things I wanted. I just can't get over how clean it looks with the UI. I went over to the metal mountain again to farm some more metal. Black armor can get quite expensive. Yeah. Then I started farming some narco berries so I could make a bunch of narcotics. I was basically prepping for getting an Argentavis so I could move bases. Someone in chat wanted to hear my real voice reveal, so I gave them a taste of it.
Hello, Sandra. I hope you're doing good today.
Now, after destroying 1,000 rocks, I had all of the necessary gates needed for taming an Argentavis. On day 6, I made a bunch of trank arrows and then I headed north to find an Argentavis. I had made it to the snow biome, but still no good Argentavis in sight. I got my hands on some warm pants from a drop too. This is gonna help a lot with the cold. Then I finally saw it in the distance. Wait, 140? Oh, yes. Now we're talking. I placed down my trap for the RG, and all I have to do now is lure it in if I could find it again. It took a couple of shots, then it went sleepy time for the Borb. I flew over to the iceberg to kill off a few baby penguins for polymer and a bit of oil and prime meat. Then I got back to the RG, I gave it my meat and then it was mine. The fog in this game can get really intense, but it's crazy good though. Oh god, I can't see anything in this fog. I was out looking for bugs to kill for chitin since I couldn't make the RG saddle just yet. And as soon as I found some bugs, there was a couple of raptors ruining everything. Please. No, no, no. I spotted an actual level 1 Rex. That's just tragic. Oh god. Finally, I found some bugs to kill, so it gave me a bit of kiting, but not a lot. I really had to inspect the beautiful obelisk at night. This is really next-gen graphics. The remaining kiting was back at base, so I only had to go out and grab some hide and fiber, which isn't that complicated. Finally, back at base, I made the RG saddle, so now I could prepare for moving to my new base location I have in mind. I farmed a bit of resources, so I had some pre-made foundations to place down. After a bit of traveling, I made it to my new designated base location. There was a lot of shrubbery I had to clear off to make space for my new home. Meanwhile, I was clearing the area, I heard some raptors that were coming for me, but they just went for my parasaur instead while I was encumbered with trash. I'm so heavy too. Oh please, why am I so heavy? Oh my god. Oh great. I was just marinating the ideas when a Carno invaded my personal space.
Oh, come on!
Just because I wanted to build, I discovered another Carno lurking nearby.
Oh, come on! Why is there an alpha there now? Please!
Build there. Oh my god.
Yeah, you think this is safe?
I landed in the wrong spot. I'm terrified to move. If we don't move, you can't see us.
The new Dino AI is just too smart in ASA, honestly. I was trying to bait it, but to no avail. He just kept on coming back. Well, once again, I tried leading him away, but I got Microraptor in the most inconvenient time. I made it out somehow with a sliver of health. I didn't have a bed put down yet, so if I died, that would be very bad. Hey, at least I have a bed now. I put down some gates to stop him from breaking and entering. But when I think it's calm and safe, the Carno keeps coming back for some dumb reason. I grabbed a baby the Carno tried to kill so I could bait him off the area. Then I would be able to place down my last dinosaur gates to prevent him from coming up here again. I guess I wanted to get an RG baby in case we lose any of ours. What are you doing? Why are you whistling him?
So that Kieran and Kevin can have a baby before one of them dies.
And after a bit of base building, I wanted to get myself a new decorator, so I made a few tranks once I find one. On day 9, I went out in search of dinos and I came across a baby parasaur, and with the loss of mine, it would be a good replacement now. I did not pay attention to my stamina at all, and I left the baby on a rock for raptors to feast on. I'm sorry. A bit further up the river, I spotted a 145 male Rex. Oh, here we go. What? So I went back home to gather enough stuff to make a few gates and a bear trap for the Rex. Now, I had all of the gates and the bear trap, so all I had to do now was to bait the 145 into the trap while trying to keep the other Rex away. I got rid of the other Rex so I could trank the 145 in peace. Well, while I was trying to knock it out with my crossbow, it broke, so I had to go back home to repair it. Then go back to the Rex and continue. Finally, it went out cold, so I left it up to starve a bit. So in the meantime the Rex was starving, I went out and looked for something big to kill for Prime, so I could give it to the Rex. And while the Rex was enjoying the meat, I started by knocking out the Pokeball since I was in need of easy rock farming. Oh nice. I also picked up a stray on the beach that would very much like to help me out by farming berries. Akisa had brought me back my pterodon I left back at my old place. How nice of her. On day 10, I went out with my pterodon to grab a couple of explorer nodes to level up so I could make a Rex saddle. And since I was flying around, I was just grabbing a couple of drops as well. Back at base, I finally made the Rex saddle, so I flew out to pick up my Dodecarus first. And then the Rex. Into day 11, I was gathering a lot of rocks with my new Pokeball. It was so convenient. With the stone I acquired, I had made a few stone gateways to protect my base from invading Carno tortoises and other alphas. So I spent most of the day just farming and fortifying my base. After my base was fully walled up, I went out to grab a bit of metal. So for people who doesn't know, but on ASA you will no longer have to make irrigation pipes. All you really need is a water intake, tap and a water tank. It's basically Bluetooth water and will provide water within a certain range. By the end of the day, I farmed a bit of narcotics with my new parasaur. The next day, while I was flying around, I actually managed to find myself a high-level baryonyx, which is very uncommon.
Wow! That we need!
So I marked the area and I will come back later for it. And then I went out to pick up a beaver dam for some tasty paste. A bit further away, I managed to find my first ovis with its baby. I quickly took care of the parent and then I adopted the baby. After I brought the baby ovis to base, I then made a fabricator so I would be able to ascend to electricity era eventually. However, I did not have enough silica pearls for electronics, so that means only one thing. I will have to do something I distinctly hate. I have to take a dip in the ocean. So on day 13, I flew around mindlessly looking for a good Anki, but I couldn't see any Ankis at all. So over at the snow biome, I came across my first Anki, and it was a super disappointing level, but an Anki at least. I had to fight a lot of Borbs for my Anki, but I made it out somehow. Then finally, I saw a 110, so I gave up on the 30 for this one, and I brought it back to base to knock it out. I just love the character animation in this game. Yeah, then I was back at the snow area looking for silica pearls. They have made pearls harder to spot now.
Oh,
I started to panic because of some fish.
Get me out of the water!
I really can't handle the ocean, at least when I don't have a dino for it.
Someone's gonna die of shark bites.
Oh, I will! Broke my armor.
Whew. Yeah, on my way back to base, I died from the cold. We got hit by a very big climate change on the map.
I'm not gonna make it to base.
It got really cold really quick.
Yeah, tell me about it. I died. It's extremely cold. Why is it minus 20?
Yeah, I made it back to my death bag, no problem at all. So, day 14 was sneaking in as well as an Allosaurus, but I had time to close my gate right before it entered. I rushed trying to save my Anki with my Rex, but I was quite unlucky since these allos were high level and difficult to handle. Anyhow, I started making some electronics with the pearls I got from before. I went out in search of an Anki and I was quite desperate since I went for this level 15. Meanwhile, I was out looking for an Anki. We lost our male Argentavis, Kevin.
Your Kevin was killed by Helena?
Kevin! Not Kevin! Oh, they killed Kevin, you jerks!
I gave it a good search, but I couldn't find any Ankis at all, so I really just had to knock out this 15 for now. I left the Anki to be tamed up, so I flew over to the oasis to grab myself some cementing paste from a few beaver dams. Yeah, I finally made it back to base, safe and sound. So with that, I was able to craft the power generator so we could get some electricity, boys. First step into the future. Also, the generator no longer needs any cables. It has a certain range like the water intake, so you can power up your base seamlessly. So when I changed my sheep's name, it locked my mouse position in place. Well, since I couldn't do anything about this, I named the Rex after supporting fan, Levitha.
Nah, I still can't move around.
I still couldn't get out of this phase, so all I really had to do was reconnect to fix it.
Yeah, that helped.
Okay, I made some saddles to prep the dinos for farming. Yay! My RG finally hatched from its egg. It will be my new male breeder to use since Akisa got her Kevin killed.
Mistakes were made.
I took the Anki to the RG mountain to farm a bit of metal since I was running low on that. My little RG wanted to go on a simple walk with me. Ah, how cute. Or so I thought. It felt like a small little RG wanted to go on a freaking hiking trip. I was gonna try making a roof now so no wild RGs would attack my sheep and the base. Oh my god, the RG wanted to go on another hike, but this time it wasn't quite safe outside my base. Thereafter, I went into the redwoods to quickly gather some wood. These trees gives a lot of it. Then my roof was finally finished up. It's at least a circular shaped base, so Akisa, yeah, no banana box for you. The base wasn't quite done yet since I wanted to do some minor modifications to it. On day 16, I put up some lights as well since it was getting quite dark inside my base. Then I ventured out into the snow biome again to pick up some polymer and some oil. In all honesty, I should probably tame some of these penguins at some point. I picked up a level 80 Anki on my way home too, because Akisa needed one and I would be able to use it as well. I dropped it off at Akisa's base so she could knock it out. So back at base, I made a fridge and an industrial grill. It seems like the industrial grill got a real overhaul. The new design of it was just clean. So I decided to make a bit of sparking gunpowder since I will eventually need a lot of it. Then, it was finally time to go out and try taming this damn baryonyx, so I made a few billboards and a bear trap for it. I baited the berry into the trap and I locked him in place. Akisa was gonna come over and help me since you can't really pick up the baryonyx with the RG. I was planning to walk the baryonyx home since I had a saddle made for it. The trap wasn't really good, but the baryonyx walked into it again for some weird reason. Yeah, that was pretty ballsy. I actually went AFK while it was taming up. I came back from whatever I was doing and the baryonyx was finally tamed up. So, on my way back to base, Akisa had found the motion shops from Wish.
Wait.
It had returned from hell for some weird reason.
Is this the Mosa Chops from Wish? I thought the Mosa Chops from Wish died.
Yeah, it did.
I found him in a wall though.
Obviously, I had to deal with these crashes as well. Great. Akisa brought me the motion shops from Wish. Dude, I cannot believe this.
Is he alive for you? Is he there for you?
Yeah. He's supposed to be dead. Motion shops from Wish level 29 was killed by an Ichthyornis. And how in the heck is he still alive? This is kinda interesting. But we later found out that the island had some sort of a 50-50 bug, which means that anything would get teleported to exactly 50-50 chords. Even the lighter for some reason. It was extremely weird. Then I took the Anki out to farm some metal again by the end of the day. I didn't quite realize it, but I had a lot of baby artists just laying around in my base. Oh my god! I got 4 babies? What? One of them was greedy as heck, so he had to be sacrificed to feed his brothers and sisters. On day 18, I had an Alpha Raptor doing spins outside my base. I noticed that it was possible to do headshot damage with the dino now. That's an incredible change. And like usual, these RGs want to go on a big hike, but I got attacked by some raptors in the middle of everything. A bit later, I went over to the snow biome to grab a bunch of oil for structures and gasoline. And then I saw it. I stumbled upon a sheep again, so I left my Anki to bring the baby Ovis home. And then I just went back to the Anki and I started farming oil by the end of day 18. The next day, me and Akisa decided to try out this naked tactic we saw on Raz Clark video.
Shout out to Raz Clark then for going through this cave naked.
So, we put our beds and dinos by
There we
the
go.
beach, since we couldn't build near the cave at all.
Okay, if I go first, they'll go after you, right?
Well, I completely ignored the loot, I just wanted to survive. Akisa took us on the wrong path, and
Oh
yeah.
no! Oh no, I've been webbed! I'm in danger! I've died.
Oh, no! I didn't freaking make it that far on the second try. Oh no, I got whipped! No! On the third try, we made it a bit further now, but I walked over an explorer note which got me killed. No explorer note!
Is a very skittish herd.
I got back again, but then I got pushed to the other side, but I didn't quite make it. Akisa made it to the artifact just somehow. Ah! I'm dead here.
I made it to the artifact though!
Oh my god, that's great. Finally some redemptions after all of these deaths. Day 20 was creeping in and we were still in the cave. I found Akisa's death bag with the artifact, so I grabbed it and then I ran like hell. Oh, I might make it! Come on! Oh, come on! Stamina! Eat berries! I managed to get the artifact closer to us, but in reality, it didn't feel like that at all.
I believe in you, Mike!
Akisa wanted to grab the bag this time while I was leading the dinos away, but Akisa couldn't find it, so I died for nothing. Did you find it?
I don't see a bag in there.
I found the bag with the artifact and I legged it. Wow. I made it out with our first artifact. So we spent the whole day 19 trying to get the first artifact naked. Artifact of the Massive. Let's go. So, I took a trip out to farm a bit of resources again to calm my nerves and head. Akisa had found a pretty decent bacon, so I knocked it out in my base. We didn't have anything fancy to give it, so we slowly tamed him with my meat. I wanted to figure out if it was possible for me to make superior kibble, but I was missing out on citronal and sap, so no. The bacon finally tamed up after a while. It took some time without mutton or kibble, but that's fine. On day 21, I took Levitha out to farm a lot on meat. So now when I have a pig, I am slightly concerned about my tames.
Why is Karen carrying him? What?
Bacon was sailing for no apparent reason, just to have an excuse for eating my food. Bad piggy, bad bacon. I decided to banish Bacon to Akisa's space to take care of him. Later during the day, I went around looking for a mate for Levitha, but I just couldn't find any high-level Rexes. Well, not until I was on my way back home did I discover that there were 250 Rexes.
To say the level. 150! It's a female and it has a baby!
Oh God, that's 2 Rexes.
The small baby looked like it was in danger, so I took the baby and put it in a box for now. Then I quickly went back to base to make a few gates to trap the Rex in, since I used my previous gates to make my wall. We had to clear the area of all the dangerous dinos so we wouldn't risk of losing that 150. I tried leading the Rex to the gate where the bear trap was, but it was smart enough to understand that.
Oh, okay. Just walking around the trap, huh?
Finally, it was trapped in, so all there was to do was to knock it out.
You have a magnifying glass? Also, what the? Oh.
What the? Just ran past us. Was that a team of hyenodons? I want to go take care of that.
When it went to sleep, an alpha raptor slowly creeped by.
It's sleeping.
Oh no, there's an alpha here. Oh my god, dude.
I had to go check out the baby that I trapped in before, but the baby had escaped just somehow, or despawned. I was checking the whole path leading to the Rex, but I was completely blind where it was.
Oh, no, it's standing right next to the mom.
Wait, is it? Where is it?
Hi, Dodo baby. You're so cute.
It had finally tamed up, but Akisa couldn't carry the baby back home, so she had to walk it. It had grown slightly bigger. So, now we had a pair of them Rexes, so that means we can breed them for the bosses. Stats aren't that great, but with a good saddle, they should be able to keep up with the bosses. I went over to Akisa to bother her, and I discovered a new rooftop piece. That's awesome. A bit later, my Rex finally hatched, so all I had to do was just give it a bit of love and attention. Afterwards, I went out to place out a few tree sap taps and farm some metal since I was close to the mountain. Having a mass of metal can never go wrong. While I was gathering metal, I got this usual crash.
Uh-oh.
To be fair, Arcasandon is still in early access, so it will probably be ruled out eventually. After I got back, I had to imprint my Rex, and it will probably need 2 imprints to be fully maxed out. While day 23 was creeping in, I went into the redwoods to farm the trees. I love these trees, man. The next day, I had begun making my greenhouse for crops. But I ran out of crystal so fast, so I took my Anki up to the volcano to farm the crystal. There was a lot of it up there, so it was a good idea living so close to the volcano. My visibility turned to shit up here as well. It was quite difficult to see where I was. By the end of the day, I finished up my greenhouse, so all I needed was some crops. On day 24, I had to take my Rexes out on a hike, but my small little base wasn't enough for them, so I went out on my gate, which was a big mistake. I couldn't imprint the Rexes a second time at all, so I decided to make them our rhino sacrifices. You can now stack the crop plots on top of each other, and they all get the greenhouse effect. Man, I love the quality of life on Asa. It's a very big improvement from ASC. The greenhouse is now done, so all I needed was some seeds and fertilizer, and I'm pretty much good to go. Aww. I had some baby Rexes to claim a bit later too, but they were really stuck.
Is somebody a little bit stuck there?
Yeah, I can see why.
They're stuck on the air conditioners.
Finally.
The next day, I took my parasol outside my gates to farm all of the necessary seeds for my greenhouse, but most importantly, the crop seeds. I wanted to get the greenhouse going as soon as possible. I figured out I didn't have all of the seeds, so I went out again only to be surrounded by a pack of dogs. But I go jump with the Racino as well. A bit later, I picked up another parasol to tame up because I just lost mine. And then I went out to help Akisa get her body back because she got killed by an angry frog. On day 26, I spotted a male rhino we could take down for its pheromone. We will need this pheromone for a female eventually. We were still on the lookout for a high level of baryonyx and a frog, but I spotted an 85 Akisa wanted, so we were gonna tame this baryonyx for now. As soon as we knocked out the baryonyx, we just left it to starve. On my way home, I picked up a decently leveled frog that we would be able to use for Swamp Cave later. Ow. I had to knock out Akisa's frog as well. Back at base, I had a visitor outside my gate. He could apparently damage my greenhouse from the outside. I took one of my Rexes to deal with the intruder since it was damaging my Rexes from the outside. But when I went around the corner, he was completely gone. How? Oh lord. I had trouble moving my Rexes around in my small little base. I felt like it was about time soon to start expanding the base. So I started by placing down a few gates for now, but I was running out of them very quickly. This means there's only one thing to do, and that's farm. Akisa was shouting at me that the frog can make some kind of interesting sound.
What?
On the next day, I continued placing down a few more gates. But today's plan was to attempt the central cave, but I wanted to make some preparations first and make some bug spray. I had to make a pair of scissors to get some wool off my sheep to make it. And before the end of the day, we had arrived at the central cave since Akisa wasn't quite ready until now. Finally, we were in the cave. I heard a lot of noises and I was quite scared. We decided to jump over the bugs instead, going straight for the artifact. Akisa didn't survive that at all since she fell into the pool of creatures. But hey, we got our second artifact acquired. So all I had to do was fly back to the central cave to help Akisa get her belongings back. Akisa had enough of all of the bugs, so she whistled her RG into the cave. While Akisa was clearing up the cave, I decided to tame up 2 dung beetles instead. So one for me and one for Akisa. Nice. Apparently Akisa's RG died with everything she brought with her. She put everything on her bird. That was quite the mistake. So I was gonna be a gentleman and help Akisa search for the death bag. I found it and then I ran like hell out of this cave. I had enough for one day. So I took one of the dung beetles home with me because it was mine. Akisa can have the other one. Yeah, I discovered I had an alpha raptor outside my gates who wanted to come in. I do really need to finish putting up my wall of gates. I had to once go into the redwoods and grab wood to finish up my gate. Then I came back to base, discovering a mistake I did. Oh! The Rexes I couldn't make move, I decided to kill instead. It gave me 1 level, so I hit level 81, which means it will be time to visit the Swamp Cave and underwater dungeons at some point. On day 30, I was finally finishing putting up my gates, so no more big stompy stomps outside my gates. Then I went out scouting for rhinos. I couldn't see any big bugs, but I found a beaver dam that I stole from a beaver. So, I was gonna work on getting a chemistry bench, but I did not have enough electronics or silica pearls to make one. So there was only one thing to do, and that was to fly out to the snow biome to get some silica pearls. Oh man, it's so hard to spot these pearls, I swear to god, dude. With a small amount of pearls I got, I was able to make myself a scuba to visit the deep ocean and look for pearls. Yeah, it was still difficult to find them. I think I just have to go to the deeper ocean. I don't know what I was thinking. My fear of the deep ocean really is my weakness. I don't like the ocean at all. Ha! Ha! I'm leaving.
I should have tamed a shark.
Akisa had spotted the rhino, so we decided to get ready and go over there. We had the rhino's attention now, but we had to try to keep it under 10% HP so it would impregnate the Rex. I tried using the magnifying glass to try to see its health. It was very difficult trying to see what HP it had since it just flung me off the Rex all the time.
Oh, wait.
Oh, you did it. It's pregnant.
Oh, freaking finally. The rhino impregnated the Rex now. Oh my god. Akisa had to walk the Rex home, trying to keep it alive until it would hatch. First, I think. The first craving it wanted was a shadow stake. If you complete all of the cravings, you will get a lot of the dinosaur stats to the rhino. So there we have it, folks. Our first rhino. It was a really low level, but the rhino at least. It will be very crucial with the bug for carrying the dinos for us.
Hey.
I named the rhino after a good friend. The very next day, I went out in search of good tames to get while holding a snail for comfort. I wanted to get myself an Oviraptor first so it would pick up all of the eggs from my Rexes, so I didn't have to sit there and do it manually. I managed to spot an Oviraptor I needed. It was very low level, but that's probably gonna be fine. But before taming this Oviraptor, I had to get rid of an Alpharaptor nearby. But just because of that, I lost sight of the Oviraptor. Never mind, I saw it splashing in the water, so I grabbed it and I brought it back home. Then I knocked it out, gave it a couple of Rex eggs, and I left it to tame up. So the reason why I was raising a lot of Rex eggs is so I can kill the babies to level up my character. I didn't have the necessary level to make the rhino saddle yet. Afterwards, I went over to check out the known 50-50 bug on the map where everything gets teleported to.
Holy crap. Oh my god, there's a million dinos there.
It popped out bugs like popcorn. That's probably how the monster shops from Wish got revived. Taking these bats and bugs out took a while because I was trying to be careful. And then by the end of the night, I flew out to gather a lot of the drops around the map. Then it was time to prepare some Rex eggs for killing. And while those eggs were still incubating, I decided to do a quick medal run. When I returned, there was a few of them already hatched. So I left Akisa to handle the eggs while I went out and picked up the 4x Explorer note. I also grabbed the toilet experience, then it was time for slaughter. Take notice here, we didn't have PvP enabled, so we had to imprint dinos in order to kill them. I couldn't figure out how to kill unclaimed dinos in PvE, so... But yeah, that was kinda profitable. I got 18 levels from killing all of those babies, which gave me enough levels to unlock the rhino saddle. Then I flew out to the snow biome to farm a bit of oil again. And since I was out here, I had to kill a few penguins for polymer. Akisa had entered one of the underwater caves without realizing it was a dungeon.
Oh, I'm still alive. Just kidding.
I was now able to make myself an industrial forge, but where am I supposed to place it? It's bigger than my entire base. I couldn't come up with any good solution for it, so I just put out some foundations for it outside. Either way, I was able to make the rhino saddle now, so then I took my enormous bug out to the snow biome to visit the Silica Pearl Cave. I needed a good chunk of it for making electronics so I could get my first chem bench. On day 36, I was up on the Giga Mountain to see if there was any Gigas or Cars up, but I couldn't see any, so I just went home. Oh my god, I was now able to make the chem bench. Goodbye mortar and pestle, I don't need that primitive stuff anymore. Finally, we are starting to see some progress here now. Now when I had the chem bench and industrial forge, I used up quite a lot of metal, so it was once time to go out and farm some more. This really gets my gear going, because sometimes the anchor didn't farm and grabbed on the RG, so I had to manually do it from time to time. I wanna be completely honest, I am so sick and tired of going out there to kill penguins for polymer. So now I think it's finally time to start taming some of them. I had to be extra careful and check the torpidity and health so I wouldn't kill them. They were extremely weak. Finding a high-level male penguin wasn't so easy for me, so I just picked up whatever level I could find. Yes! Now I had a pair of them so I could get polymer in a more convenient way. By growing polymer. I wanted to reorganize a few things in my base so I could access them easier. I had decided to take down my base since I wanted to rebuild it. This small little circular base was getting quite cramped and I felt a bit claustrophobic inside here. Akisa told me that her Biddy Boofo died. That's just because she forgot to feed them. I tried coming up with a few base design ideas, but it was very difficult for me. This was very mentally draining because whenever I had to make a few building pieces, it took so long to make them. I couldn't honestly come up with any good design for this build and I wasn't happy with this, so I took it down once again. I showed this to my friend Johan and he told me it reminded him of a gingerbread house. So here we go again, time to demolish the walls. I did like the flooring, however, it was in a good spot, but the wall and roof design wasn't really there for me. I had a new vision for this. What if I flip the roof parts outwards so the wood comes out and shows from the outside? I had placed out a few ceiling tiles so I had somewhat of a good view of the river. The base is finally taking shape the way I want it. It's basically gonna be a dinosaur barn plus base itself so I can keep some of the smaller creatures safe inside. Having to deal with these crashes was also incredibly annoying. The base was big enough now to fit the forge into the build and it's easily accessible now. You can now make very interesting aesthetic parts into your build. I loved playing around with this. This was really fun. It was getting too much with the resources in my tables, so I decided to make a vault which is packing a lot of storage slots. A bit later, I went out to a Rex Akisa had knocked out, since it had a pretty good health stat. I just had to grab it home also since Akisa didn't have a bug on her own yet. Then it's back to fixing my base a notch. I was really liking how it was turning out. I am no good builder, that's all I'm gonna say. I parked some of my dinos inside from all of these stupid wild archers that usually comes over for visits. It was now day 42 and my base was completely done. I really liked how it turned out and the lighting in this game just makes it even better. Akisa needed to level her character a bit, so we were incubating a few Rex eggs in preparation. Then I took Akisa out to grab a few explorer notes since she didn't know where they were. We had a lot of eggs to go through, so that would definitely help her to get to level 100 at least. Killing all of these babies capped our inventory slots all of the time. Stupid prime meat, I swear. Yeah, I think I've reached my threshold of all of the archers attacking my base. So we went out to look for plant species X, so we had some kind of a turret at our base. But then we actually saw a 145 female baryonyx we desperately needed. 145! A female!
Oh, hold up. I'm yeeting myself off of the bug now.
Akisa was knocking it out while I held onto it with my bug. So we wanted to use something special to tame this. So we went out to the ocean to kill some sharks for prime fish meat. We didn't have the kibble unlocked just yet. It felt very hard for me to spot the sharks in the ocean, making it very immersive. But we had enough prime fish meat now, so all we had to do was go back to the baryonyx. I left the baryonyx home to breed with the others, so now we got that covered for the caves. Then we went back on our search for plant species X seeds. It was very difficult finding the bush Akisa told me about. I was very low on stone like usual, so I had to take my doed out to farm the beach for rocks so I could make the crop plots and get the turret plants up and running. I couldn't come up with a good placement for them, so I just placed them out randomly all over the place. I also had my perfect female Rex with a great combination of HP and damage, so all I needed was a perfect male and we could breed them for boss Rexes. Like usual, I was having some kind of a brain fart. I didn't know what came over me that led me to killing penguin babies instead of raising them. What? Only got 12? Wait, what am I doing? I'm killing babies? I'm so stupid. I shouldn't kill babies, should I? On day 44, I was still out looking at the mountains for car shows again, but I really couldn't see any, so I just gave up. Not even a Giga was sighted. I flew towards a yellow drop and I managed to get the mastercrafted Fab Sniper, but I was kinda debating if it was worth making it since it was so expensive. Then it was time to kill these penguins for the polymer that I have raised. And with that polymer, I could expand to a third vault for equipments. Before the end of the day, Akisa wanted to attempt the swamp cave for the first time on Asa. I felt incredibly underprepared for this. Akisa brought her cats into the dungeon while I took one of my berries.
Oh, no, I am still taking damage.
Akisa didn't realize that you have to wear the whole scuba set to protect yourself from poison damage.
Do I really have to wear the pants, too?
You have to wear everything! I forgot to bring myself some fish meat for my berries, so he couldn't really heal at all. We got into the main room and I saw our first red cave drop. I didn't get to see what the drop was because Akisa picked it up so fast.
It's a 600% ascended regular shotgun.
A sneaky Arthur came up on me and broke my whole scuba set, putting me in danger. So I quickly went back to base to repair my scuba sets before heading back to the cave. It had respawned another red drop, but we had to dispose of some bugs before we could loot it. It had an unbelievable long neck blueprint that I would never be able to make. Oh my god!
What was it?
677% long neck rifle. 10,000 metal. Bro, no one can make that. We then crawled up towards the artifact, which makes it our third one collected. Then we actually made a big mistake and we walked into a small little tunnel that got us killed.
I'm dead.
I'm dead. I came back to the cave on a backup baryonyx, but it was struggle busting trying to clear the bugs. Yeah, my baryonyx couldn't keep itself alive during this. Let's back up. Oh, my baryonyx died too. I didn't make it that far to my body at all. Oh, jeez. I came back another time, but I could not see the death bags at all. Luckily, we were smart enough to put the blueprints on the tiger, so we didn't lose out on them. But the artifact, however, was lost, so we were down to 2 again. We both just have to be a bit more prepared whenever we go into the swamp cave and not go through that tunnel again. On day 47, I was farming a bunch of flint so I could make some spark powder. I wanted to get a bunch of gunpowder going for bullets since I used up quite a lot of it in the swamp cave.
That's cute.
Akisa had spotted an Alpha Rex further up the river that we were gonna kill. But what she didn't account for was that the Alpha Rex wasn't alone. Now, this wasn't really a good idea to fight when both of them gave each other the Alpha buff. Akisa managed to distract one of them and bait it away so I could finish one of them alone. Then I helped Akisa so we could get the other one killed. A bit later, I went out for another Oviraptor since one of them wasn't really cutting it anymore. I would be able to spread out my breeders a bit if I had 2 of them. On my way back home, I spotted a pair of rhinos, so we were gonna try to prepare a Rex so Akisa could get her own Apache helicopter. Akisa grabbed the rhino pheromones and then we headed out to the bug. We spotted the male 135, so I dropped Akisa onto the ground to deal with it. Afterwards, Akisa quickly dealt with that bug. We saw the bug we needed, but it wasn't that interested in Akisa's Rex. I put my Epsi aside so I could assist Akisa in getting the bug. Sometimes I just despise the magnifying glass because of its range. So what's so annoying about this is that you basically have to time it with the magnifying glass, otherwise you get flung off the Rex. Finally, after a bit of a struggle, we managed to damage it enough to make it impregnate the Rex. Oh, did it work?
We pregunt. Yep, it's pregunte.
We were incredibly unlucky with the first craving since it asked for something we absolutely don't have. We don't have that.
It was the one thing.
So with that, it was decided to go check out the mountains for car jars. Wait, is that it? 125 female! Akisa was gonna distract it down to the beach while I attempt feeding it. Yeah, that didn't work out like we planned at all. I got back to the car jar on my pterodon. But when I was trying to go back to my pterodon, I did not make it. That car jar was so attached to me even when I respawned. By the end of the day, I was back at my base to repair my whole armor set before heading back out there again. After each feed, I had to get away from the car jar not to agitate him, but the cat movement speed didn't really help out with this issue for me. Okay, so after careful consideration, we decided to make a few gates to trap it in and feed a baby Rex to it instead. I picked up one of the Rexes I hatched from before and we headed out to the car jar. When we arrived, we spotted him up in the woods, so I put down my gates and a bear trap. I had to bait him down by shooting him with my shotgun. We got him trapped just in the nick of time. And I sacrificed one of these boss Rexes to feed the car jar. Oh, it's working. Thank you. Oh! One Rex did it! Man, we should have gone with this from the start. Oh. The friendship meter went to 100% with one Rex, so all we had to do was kill a lot of creatures to make the car jar mine. The car jar was finally my friend. Akisa had to go back to base to grab the saddle because I forgot it. So all I had to do was work my way home, plowing through the thick forest. Now we finally own the car jar, so that means that farming meat will no longer be an issue. Getting overwhelmed with prime meat is very normal, it seemed like. I started by incubating some berry eggs so we could eventually do some cave runs. The berries finally started to hatch, so all I had to do was just give them some meat and cuddles. Wow! You can now include or exclude dinos from eating from the troughs. That did not function on ASC, but it does here. That's amazing. Akisa farmed some fish meat for me so I could give it to my berries. We wouldn't want them to starve since we needed them for the cave runs. On day 51, I went out in search of a few boss dinos like the Megatheriums, Therizinos and Udis we would need to use for the boss fights. Akisa suggested we should head out and look for beehives so we can craft the kibble as well. We found a bee and we had to do this one quickly, otherwise we couldn't feed it. You don't really need a bug spray if you can do this very quick. One bee done and one more to go, so we both have each one. We found 2 beehives in one tree, so I let Akisa handle one of them on her own while I tried to go for the other one. I need glasses. I lost a bee in the forest, but luckily Akisa found it for me. There, finally. Now we had more than enough beehives. Now, I have 2 beehives, so all I have to do is just drop some rare flowers into them and we are good to go. The very next day, we went and cleared the center cave again, hoping for any good blueprints. But nope, there wasn't any singular good blueprint. Then we went over to the swamp cave and cleared our way to the main room. The drop was incredibly good, but holy heck, we are never gonna be able to make this. Broken rhino saddle that requires 20,000 metal ingots. It's not like we're flooding in resources. That won't happen until gachas become a thing. These are all of the blueprints we got from the cave. Pretty good, honestly, but yeah, very expensive. Akisa has had a 120 Therizino outside our base for quite a while now that we were kinda debating if we should have tamed or not. But today is the time for it. I got my billboards down, but I wasn't quick enough to lock it in. Then it finally went out after a lot of trank arrows, so I just gave it a lot of crops to tame up since we didn't have any cable ready yet. I wanted to get the grinder up and going, but I was in need of a ridiculous amount of crystal for it, so I took my Anki up to the volcano, but the fog up there was quite dense that made it impossible to see anything. I couldn't be bothered with it, so I just turned off my fog temporarily for this. I do like the fog, but this is just ridiculous. I was a bit nervy farming crystals inside the cave since there was literally a giga guarding the volcano. The farming continued since I was in desperate need of oil as well. Because of all of the traveling going from point A to point B, I got back to base by day 54. When Akisa was outside, she found a female bug, so she took her sacrifice with her so we could tame it. Akisa actually surprised me. She had a very good plan to keep the rhino under the magnifying glass so she could see the HP at all times. The only problem, however, was that the bug flew up too far into the air, so I wasn't quite able to damage it from my position. It impregnated the Rex and we were all good now, so we could head back to base. Like, the thing is, we had a car shard that was a female but didn't drop any eggs at all for some reason. We even had 2 oviraptors to boost the egg production rate, but what I think is what it really needs is an actual male to even produce a singular egg. Oh well, we couldn't do anything about the buggo, it's just gonna come out at whatever level at this point. So I took the time by using my new Therizino to farm a bit of rare flowers and such. A bit later, I went into the snow biome again to look for a high level Yuri or a Megatherium. I took a little break from looking for the dinos, waiting for a red drop. It was literally trash. I was still on the search for a Yuri or a Mega, but I couldn't find any, so I gave up for the day. On day 55, we did our usual run in the swamp cave to see if we could get our hands on some decent blueprints. It didn't contain anything good like usual. Wow, Akisa was gonna give the baryonyx a try for the center cave. She has never used the baryonyx before. They're fast and more convenient than her kitty cat. And like usual, no good loot at all. I think it was time for us to attempt taking on the Carno cave. I was extremely excited for it since we haven't done it yet. The remake of the Carno cave was huge. This was just breathtaking. So the only thing we need to gather in here is the artifact and some drops. But that artifact will make it our 4th. Getting back up was a test to see if I still got the moves.
Oh no!
Ooh, you can actually die if you're not too careful. The next cave up was the upper south cave, but I had trouble finding it since it was so small. The cave was just gorgeous with its light, but it came to a stop when we discovered we couldn't walk through with the baryonyxes. We were gonna attempt this on foot, but there was an Arthro there, so we didn't proceed any further. So we decided to head for the lower south cave instead. Maybe the bears will fit in there. It's really interesting what they did to the caves. They feel like an actual dungeon now, not just an empty hole in the ground. Look, my baryonyx can jump. Oh!
What?
Akisa had already picked up the artifact, so I just had to sit and wait for mine. That will make it our 5th artifact acquired. For some weird reason, the rhino kept on moving forward for no reason at all. It was quite weird. I put up some artifact pedestals for my newly acquired artifacts. Then I was raising a few more penguins so I could have some polymer for my new grinder. I had a lot of garbage I wanted to grind for resources. Later I had to go out and gather a bit of meat and hide. My dinos tend to get super hungry from time to time, it seemed like. On day 57 I made it up to the snow biome still farming meat, but it was probably about time to head home because it was cold and the walk was long and hard. While I was looking around for a club in my base, I heard something chomping outside my gates. Why is there a car share outside my base? It was a freaking car share literally standing on my doorstep. I tried my best in baiting the female away from my base, but I was extremely worried about it being near my base.
Get away from my base!
I even put down a gate and I shot him with my shotgun to bait him away from my gates. The car share really didn't care.
Dude, can you get away from my base? Oh, no.
Now it was even damaging my base and could possibly eat my breeders. I had no other choice but to fight it with my own Karshar. Not having any stacks on the frenzy ability made this fight quite dangerous for my Karshar. I even tried caging him in, but it got out. Akisa came over to assist me killing it since I didn't want to lose the Karshar I had. Oh my god, we finally killed it. I was quite upset at this ordeal. To be fair, the Karshar didn't damage everything that much at all, but I was literally panicking when I saw numbers on my gates. Akisa promised to help me bonk these penguins for polymers since she had a higher melee damage than me. A bit later, I was by the volcano grabbing the last crystal from my grinder. I was very excited to get my hands on one right now. And finally, I made a grinder, but I had problems where to place it since it was massive. So, after moving a couple of dinos, I now have a good spot for the grinder. On day 58, I sorted out what kind of garbage I was gonna grind, and it gave me a beautiful amount of goods in return. After grinding some gear, I chopped up a dead baby sheep and then cooked it for some delicious lamb chops. And then I went out once again in search of a Megatherium or a Yudi, and I found one. I found our very first Megatherium. I've been searching for days for this one. So I went quickly back to base to grab a trap for the Megatherium. There was no way I wanted to lose this one. Sometimes the collision for structures makes it very hard to place down traps. The Megatherium went out on day 59, so all there was to it was just to feed it and leave it to tame up. I grabbed a drop in the meantime while I was waiting. So all I needed now was a mate for it so I could get my boss Megatheriums up and running. I didn't care too much about the stats since it's already hard finding high level dinos. After I got back, I cleared the central cave for any good BPs, but I found nothing like usual. So I went over to the swamp cave and it actually gave me something pretty unique.
What?
A beautiful Giga BP, which is gonna be impossible to make. So me and Akisa split up looking for Theracinos, and I managed to spot a 140 male Theracino next to the green obelisk, which I wanted for the dragon boss. I sat and waited for Akisa to get over here and help me taming it, but she never came for some reason.
Where are you, Akisa? Are you coming over?
No, I have the theory.
Wait, what's that theory you're carrying?
It's a 145.
What? No, I'm looking at 140.
Oh, please tell me it's a male.
Yeah, it's a male here.
I quickly rushed back to base to make some cable for taming the Theracinos. Taming them with bears makes it so we lose out on so much taming efficiency and it takes forever. I got back to the green obelisk and I placed out my circular trap to grab and drop the Theracino into it. And then afterwards it went sleepy sleep, so all I had to do was just wait for it to tame up. But hey, we got a boss pair of Theracino, so there was only one mega left we need. I took my chicken fingers to grab some berries for my tames. I didn't want to lose these tickle chickens to starvation. I tried figuring out how to color the armor. I did not find out how to rotate the armor at all, so I couldn't see all of the angles, but that's fine. It turned out pretty good either way. Then I also exported the stats of each dino to get an easier understanding of what the stats were on the Theracinos in the Arc Smart breeding program. The next day I went to clear the caves again, but the central cave didn't give me anything good at all. But the swamp cave actually gave me 500% damage long neck. Not exactly what I really wanted, but hey, it's still pretty decent. I was trying to gather up a lot of Rex eggs to hatch eventually for bosses so they would get some passive experience just by standing around. Akisa asked me to build an area to park our dinosaurs we are not actively using, so basically between our bases. I was running into a problem trying to repair my behemoth gates I accidentally damaged. I wanted to move it since it was obstructed, but I couldn't since it was damaged. It made my brain rot. So just because of the gate issues, I had to farm more rocks to make a new behemoth gate. Like, oh my god. Well, there I was getting there, and hopefully it was sufficient enough for a dino garage. I even put down some foundations to prevent clutter and wild dinos to randomly spawn in that public garage. To get a break from building, we went to do our casual run of the swamp and central cave, but it was all trash. On day 63, I was preparing with a lot of structures since I wanted to have some sort of a base close to one of the obelisks whenever we are doing the 3 guardian bosses. I had picked out an area and I placed down a couple of structures on the beach. Then a raptor killed my favorite baryonyx I was using for the swamp cave. What? Not long after, Akisa Sabertooth died to 140 Megatherium.
Oh, 140!
Oh, that's a 140 Megatherium.
So I told Akisa to confirm it was a female since we already had a male at the base.
Female.
Female?
Yeah, it's female 140.
I immediately stopped what I was doing and I head over to Akisa to help her knock it out and tame it. That's really nice though. With this mega, we have all of our boss breeders. The only thing we are still missing are the freaking saddle BPs. So on day 64, I had actually changed my mind and I decided to build in a different area where we could have the water dinos. So I spent the rest of the day picking up my gates and such and moving it to the new area I told the keys about. The beach area was getting there, just a couple of more gates and some foundations to prevent stuff from spawning in, and we're good to raise our boss dinos here. Either way, despite me passing out to a bakery, I still had a lot of things to do, like for example getting all of these things over to the new area. I put down a few foundations and finally walled up the area. We were gonna need some kind of water area for the water dinos, but it was difficult figuring out how to put down the gates in the water. Now, when the area was done cleaning up, I could start hatching our boss Rexes and get that out of the way. Nikisa managed to find a Megatherium saddle blueprint from the Carno cave. What an incredible good find.
Oh my god, Mike. Okay, I got one. I got a blueprint for a Megatherium saddle.
On day 66, I was still sorting out the Rexes since most of them were unbelievably greedy and wanted kibble for imprinting. Such weird demands, I swear. I had to sort them out one by one and put them in certain spots to whichever required kibble. I had also put a large order of different types of kibble with lots of cooked meat and jerky, and Nikisa finally arrived with it. I would rate my DoorDash 10 out of 10. Yeah, that took a while to imprint all of those Rexes. It was very messy, but now they're all imprinted for whenever we need them. So I went over to Akisa's base to check out the Megatherium saddle BP she found in the Carno cave. Man, that blueprint is expensive. The next day I was out killing a lot of dinos with my Carchar since those Rexes will eat like crazy until fully matured. The food troughs will run out of food before I even know it, but I'm not risking losing these Rexes at all. It's better to be safe than sorry, you know. Akisa wanted to attempt the northwest cave to grab the 6th artifact. This one has a lot of death holes, so I gotta make sure to watch my stepping. Well, she wanted to take the shortcut to the artifact, but me playing with Akisa for a very long time, I've learned one thing. She loves her melee weapons a lot. Okay, grab it. No, Akisa! Akisa managed to grapple my gear back, luckily. I can't really say I was happy about that team kill. I was showing Akisa the other route she could have taken, which is way safer in my opinion. But either way, we got to 6th artifact, the Skylord. Back at base, I was preparing a few more baryonyxes for more upcoming caves. We're kinda left with the hard caves like the snow and the underwater caves now, so having baryonyx backups would be very wise. I brought Akisa a present. She wanted me to drop it in her house. We're still short on a few Apex tributes for the bosses, but the hardest ones we haven't even been able to get is the Megalania and obviously the water dinos too. We have done lots of cave runs in the swamp cave and we haven't been able to spot any Megalanias at all.
Megatheriums, when they're born, drop Megalanias, when they're born, drop Megalania toxin.
Akisa wanted to give it a try on her frog in the swamp cave for some paste so she could build her metal base. It was getting quite expensive to make paste for her, so I went over to the volcano to see if I could find any Megalanias or some good blueprints, but it wasn't worth coming back here to be honest. Then I was hatching a bunch of eggs trying to get a pair of Theracinos with the same HP and damage stats. I got the perfect male and a female, and I killed the ones that didn't make the cut, of course. On day 69, we were gonna attempt the snow cave, but this didn't feel like such a good idea to be honest. You no longer need to crawl in here and you can simply walk in with the baryonyx. I was trying to Spider-Man my way through the cave, but the Perlovias can literally go airborne in here. No! Yeah, I don't think there's any way to get back to my body with this kind of movement speed. Especially with 0 armor too. I get poked by a bear and I break like a twig instantly. So I was back at base preparing with some extra armor and a weapon so we could at least try to get our gear back. I brought in my baryonyx too, but that didn't feel like such a great idea since he wasn't really tanky at all. I managed to get my gear back at least. So we decided to attempt going further into the cave now, but we kinda hit our end when we saw a big pile of dungeon dinos. Yeah, at this point here, we actually gave up. Akisa managed to pick up my stuff at least. I went through a few easier caves for better blueprints, but like usual, nothing. I felt like it was time to try out the underwater caves. I didn't have too much to do at the moment since I was just waiting for Therusinos and Megatherums to breed. I honestly thought it was the end for me there when I got stuck on a whole lot of dinos. No! I'm stuck! Oh, I made it out. And there I saw it. The brute artifact was acquired, making it the 7th one. So only 3 more left to go. The only tricky part here is to make it out alive with the artifact. I actually made it out safe and sound. My baryonyx was very hurt, but I pulled through. I put down an altar for my 7th artifact as well to keep them safe. A bit later, I went out to look for a high level unit to tame again, but I couldn't see any good ones. I did however pick up a really good freaking red drop with the Carthro saddle. It will come super handy much later. We finally found a Megalania in one of the caves.
Oh my god, there's a lizard on that wall.
I had to go back home, make a saddle and grab some raw mutton to tame the Megalania with. This is kinda weird. I couldn't see the lizard at all for some reason. It seems to be some kind of visual bug. So all I had to do was climb the walls upward. The lizard is just that good. Now we would only need a second lizard since they were hard to get our hands on. We went into the swamp cave again to see if we were lucky with the spawns this time. And I guess we were really lucky because there was 3 of them in the ceiling. Okay, that's so stupid. There were 3 of them and only 1 of them didn't mesh and disappear. But either way, now we had a pair of them to breed for the Megalania toxin. After all of these swamp cave runs, it finally happened. We found a Rex saddle blueprint, but it was insanely expensive.
Blueprint or saddle?
Blueprint! 222 armor.
Oh, this is the best trip we've ever had.
Okay. As soon as we tried to get the lizard out of the cave, he was just too fat for it, so he couldn't go through. Yeah, your boy Paper is just too good at figuring stuff out. The bug literally just dragged it out of the cave. That's very nice. You get the toxin straight from the Megalania babies.
Toxin!
Akisa had some unique, interesting penguins that was being glued to her floor. I didn't have too much to do except just imprinting some Megatheriums. I gave a lot of penguin eggs for Akisa to raise and kill. I even got her a 300 damage club just for this.
How many do you need to breed?
Probably none after this. What do you need all this polymer for?
If we're ever gonna get like the shotgun, you need the polymer.
The next day, I had to take the Carthro out to kill some Spinus for their sails, and gather a lot of meat and hide for the saddles. Apparently, Kisa had a baryonyx saddle BP all this time without noticing it, so we were gonna make 2 of them just for our berries. The next day, me and Akisa went over to the other water cave that we haven't done yet. The game plan was to keep our distance from the cave water dinos because of my past experience with them. There were a few bad fish coming over to fight us, but with our baryonyxes stunned, we could basically keep them stun locked. It seems to me that they have nerfed how many dinos are inside this part of the cave now. Scratch that. There was a lot of dinos guarding the artifact instead. This makes it the 8th artifact acquired, Artifact of the Cunning, so we only have 2 more left to collect. We went further into the cave to look for possible sea drops, and my eye spotted a red drop and it contained a pump shoddy blueprint.
Oh! Pump shotgun blueprint!
Oh yeah!
Then a bit later, we head over to the other underwater cave since Akisa didn't make it out last time. She tried going in with the frog.
You did this one, didn't you, with your frog?
I did.
Did you get the artifact?
No, I didn't. I got killed by eels. They wiggled at me aggressively.
You know what? The red drop in this room was pretty decent, honestly.
We went further into the cave to look for the artifact.
I was gonna see if I could make the shotgun anytime soon, but we were gonna have to wait until we have some more polymer. The next day, I had my wild polymer growing up for my upcoming pump shotgun. I went out in search of a Karshar male, but I found a female on top of the volcano. We still needed gigahearts for the dragon fight, and it said on the Arc Wiki that a Karshar can drop a gigaheart. So, we brought our Rexes up to the volcano to fight it, but it didn't seem that the Karshar dropped a gigaheart at all. So the Wiki was lying to us, or it's just a small percentage that it will drop a heart? I'm very confused. I flew over to the Giga Mountain, and there was both a Karshar and a Giga here. Well, the Karshar didn't drop any hearts at all again, but the Giga, however, dropped it, so now we only need one more.
Giga heart. Nice.
Finally, my penguins were ready to be harvested. It gave me a lot of polymer for sure. And yes, we now have finally turned on PvP mode so we can kill unclaimed dinos to level up dinos easier. And of course harvest them too. I was making a mind wipe in preparation so I can go fully into crafting skill and make our pump shotguns for us. The shotguns came out capped in damage. Oh my god! That's capped, dude! There is one thing for sure. This shotgun is gonna be great for the snow cave. So on day 76, I made a few preparations for the snow cave. A couple of grenades to get the Perlovias out of the ground. Then it was time for the cave.
How's it looking down there?
It's looking pretty dead. Look how big that fish is right there, though.
The shotguns were awesome for this. If it weren't for the shotguns, this would have been almost impossible to do on foot.
I don't get it, how much HP they have.
We got to the difficult part of the cave. These ones we wouldn't be able to pass so easily, so we had to clear them.
Holy crap, that's a lot of creatures. Oh, that's so many doggos! You're FK. They're frozen. They're no longer frozen.
And the next bit here was easy to get past. We just had to grapple our way through and do some parkour.
Ooh, riot. Ooh, rocket launcher.
Alright, there was one last line of a big defense to get past. I'm very happy with the shotguns we had for this.
Crap! Holy crap! Do you see how many dinos is here?
100 shotgun bullets later, I started to see an opening to continue to the last bit of the cave. Oh my god! Akiza, are you okay? Jesus! I could finally start to see the artifact in the distance, and there was a few remaining dinosaurs to take care of first. There we go, we finally got our 9th artifact of the strong. We just had to wait for a second artifact so Akiza could have one too. Bruh, like usual, I have to deal with these stupid crashes. And getting back out wasn't too difficult, honestly. The next day, we were moving the Megatheriums down to the beach base to prepare them for upcoming bosses. Then I started hatching the Tickle Chicken boss dinos. They weren't as difficult to imprint as the Rexes. The Rexes were a lot clumsier and obviously thicker. After I sorted out my Theracinos with imprints, I started moving the extra Rexes and separating females and males. I had separated 2 different Rex boss groups. We were gonna have one at the base for the tech cave and a group here for the guardian bosses, which should save us a lot of travel time. By the end of the day, I was starting to move the tech cave Rexes back to the base. It was gonna be a long walk. After that long trip, we finally made it back to base. Akiza was helping me out and moving them up to the base. I went and looked for another Giga to kill for its heart. I didn't see anything in the volcano at all. But then I spotted a Karshar by the Giga mountain.
It's a male 90!
While Akiza was out, I had started incubating a Rex baby for the Karshar. So after the baby Rex had hatched, we flew out to the Giga mountain. I couldn't spot the Karshar at all. But luckily for me, I had Akiza as my second pair of eyes.
Oh, there it is. I dropped the baby.
Oh my god, Akiza, don't drop the Karshar's dinner. We baited him down to the river where it was flat ground. But this time, Akiza wanted to try taming him, so I just followed her through and helped her dealing with a few dinos. I baited Akiza back to the base without her actually noticing it. Well, the Karshar now had laid an egg, and it was gonna take a full flat hour to incubate it. At least the breeding interval was slower for this. Well, I guess it's about time I started farming metal, because making these Megatheriums and Rex saddles was gonna cost us about 2 to 4k metal ingots to make per saddle. Yeah, and then it was more farming. Oh, Wildcard purposely made these blueprint saddles very expensive. I would have been fine with an 80 armor saddle. Akisa had finally finished up her base by day 80. I can't remember exactly when she started building it, but it must have been between day 60 and 70. So it took a while. Not gonna lie, I do love Akisa's build she makes. She always amazes me with her crazy builds. Also, if you guys didn't know, Akisa has her own YouTube channel with her own videos to check out as well. Mostly her point of view of things, but she has a lot of videos planned. Alright, that's enough of procrastination. It was time to go out and get our last artifact from the upper south cave, the Hunter artifact. Clearing it wasn't really difficult for us with our berries. Akisa wanted to do it the cheesy way, so we just grappled up into the hole over the water. And there we go, that's our 10th last artifact collected. Now we have all of them ready for the 3 guardian bosses. On day 81, we were out shark hunting so we could explore the deeper parts of the ocean without dying. I managed to spot the 145 shark that I led away from the group, and I killed off a few sharks so I could knock it out. Akisa took care of the rest of the sharks, including the alpha that followed me. And holy crikey, Akisa had killed a lot of sharks. We were looking around for the alpha tribute, but I found it just by searching a bit. I took my bug further down to the water to look for a male shark, then I spotted a 140 male, so I just did the usual of knocking him out and taming him. Then all there was to it was to take him back to the beach base. The Meg was honestly very fun to use in the ocean. Alright, I wanted to get some Carchar eggs incubated to eventually hatch them to level up certain dinos. A few of the Carchars we were gonna keep for farming lots of hide and meat. Akisa came up with the fitting name for the Carchar.
Mega Oscar.
Mega Oscar? He will be going into the tech cave with us. The other Carchar was only a sacrifice since we didn't get any of the good stats on it. This is also my very first time seeing a Carchar baby. I haven't really played around with them that much in ASC. I went over to the beach base to sort out the dinos a bit more to prepare them. I wanted to see how many males and females we had so we could count and start balancing the numbers for the fights. I also started breeding the sharks, but we're gonna need some imprinted ones for the deep ocean. On day 82, I went out in search of a roaring Yuri. We would need a pretty decent one for the bosses. Ooh, I found a 120 female. So back at base, I made some darts to knock out this Yuri. I quickly went over to the sharks to imprint them before heading out and taming that Yuri. I placed out my trap and baited the Yuri to it. The fluffy monster went out after a bit finally. I had to go back to base to quickly kill off and then claim Beepus Meteors to feed my new fluffy monster. So, do you have any plan for him actually? What is the plan for him?
He's coming to the boss.
There's only one boss he's gonna come to, and that's Tech Cave. We are indeed taking the chicken to the Tech Cave. The question is whether he's gonna survive or not. On day 83, when we logged in, we noticed that the armor numbers were huge. Akisa had sighted the Giga by the volcano, so I went over to help her. Now we had the last Giga heart required, so now there was only a few alpha tributes left in the ocean to collect. And then it was back to farming metal. Oh. So the next day, we were gonna head out with the sharks looking for alphas to kill. I named the one I was riding 12 Days of Terror after a shark movie. As much as I like the fog in the water, it's very hard to see, like even with the scuba set. We found one of the alphas we needed for the tech cave. Now we only had a squid and a mosasaurus left to find. The lighting in the ocean makes it so easy to spot things now too. Asa is amazing. Oh, I see squid! Squid! A bit further up, we spotted our very first alpha squid, but it was being annoying trying to kill it since it just shoots out its ink everywhere. One of the sharks killed the squid, so I was just looking around for the tribute. Here we go, Alpha 202 Theotus head. We couldn't do any more sea hunting since it was late, so we took a pause here. My Mega Oscar was fully matured now, so I took him on a spin to try out his awesome damage. I had gathered up quite a lot of hide too from doing that. I went over to Kisa's base to deal with some of her bats that kept on spawning over her base. And not too far away, we decided to try to kill the Titanosaur to see if we could actually take it down. It went down without too much of a struggle honestly, and it gave us a big boy amount of experience. Now we went down into the ocean depths again to look for Alpha Mosa, since that's the very last thing we need now. Akisa was looking for ocean red drops as well. Ugh. There were a few squids around this part as well. We found an alpha squid that we easily killed off with the sharks. I had a very unfortunate moment with the squid here that actually killed me. And I lost literally everything, including that capped out shotgun.
Oh, no! He grabbed me outside the map!
Yep, world barrier, destroy paper.
For people who doesn't know, if you get killed outside the world barrier, you lose your whole inventory. I went out to Kisa on my second bug to assist her looking for an Alpha Mosa. I spotted something not too far away, but I got bamboozled since I didn't have a spyglass.
That one? That's purple or red? That's an alpha, right? That's pink.
Oh, there. That's. I feel like I don't even gotta look, but yeah, that's an alpha.
Nice! Now we have all of the tributes for all of the bosses. So all we have to do now is basically farm a lot of resources for saddles and level up the boss dinos. I went over to Kisa's base to borrow her old pump shotgun. I just needed it to kill some unclaimed penguins to harvest Palmer for a new freaking shotgun. On day 86, it was time to sacrifice these penguins for making me a super powerful shotgun. I went fully into crafting skill to make the shotgun, and it came out horrible.
Bruh.
Literally 0.3% crafting skill. Wow! I made some new flak armor too, since I just respec'd into fully crafting, and I was kinda annoyed. It was about time to level up all of the boss dinos. I had Akisa riding on a Rex as well, so we got shared experience to level up an extra dino. We only did the Rexes and the Megatheriums because we had done a lot of dungeons trying to get our hands on a Therizino saddle blueprint, but we still didn't find any. So we have decided not to use the Therizinos for the dragon fight, hoping that the Rexes would be good enough for it. We leveled up the Tech Cave Rex's home on day 87. And for some reason my recording didn't get this bit when we did one last try of the Swamp Cave to try to get the Therizino saddle. It was a pretty good run and it gave us a better blueprint than the one we had. It was way cheaper too than the old one.
Oh, it's a Rex! Oh!
Is it
it's
cheaper?
Much cheaper!
It's cheaper!
Well, we have to get those saddles going, so we split up and farmed metal. I wanted to try making 12 Rex saddles at least, since the blueprint was so expensive. But that means only one thing. Going back to the salt mines. I didn't have much left to do now than just wait for the metal to cook, so I took the Therizino out to farm some fiber in the swamp. Then I took the Carcer out to farm the remaining hide, even more in case Akisa needed some for the Megatherium saddle, since she was making that with her own stuff. We finally started by making the saddles now. Akisa went into fully crafting skill this time, so we would get as much armor as possible. Then we went over to my base to make a few Rex saddles too. I certainly hit my goal of 12 saddles, preferably I would want more. On day 90, we started by dragging the dinos to the red obelisk to prepare them for the 3 guardian bosses. We spent the whole day going back and forth moving dinos, but at least it wasn't too bad of a distance. The only drawback to this is that it's very time consuming. Alright, on day 91, it was finally time to attempt our first alpha boss, the Spooder. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1.
I'm on Mega Sloth.
Okay, I'm moving them already.
Yeah, try and disperse them a little bit. Yeah, time to get some bugs. Nom 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 nom.
How are they looking on health? I see some Rexes are bloody.
Yeah, some of the Rexes are looking pretty bad.
As the Spooder's health was going down, so were a few boss dinos.
But we couldn't let that stop us. We have to take it down in order to move on to the next boss.
We can do this, team.
Oh, what's that one doing? Oh, what? But hey, we beat it without any real struggle. The boss doesn't drop any loot anymore. It will now spawn a loot crate near the summoning platform. So all there was to do now was to move the Megatheriums away and heal up the Rexes with bacon. Before the end of the day, we were ready for the Megapithecus Alpha fight. Let's go then, Megapithecus Alpha. Woo! So the arena still looks the same, so we took the Rexes with us up to the arena to fight him there.
We gotta go. Don't give him a chance to come.
They're coming in, right?
Yeah, they're coming in.
Half HP. Yeah. This is working. This is going well. Have we lost the Rex yet?
Nope, not yet. We might lose one of these ones over here, though.
It says the bad Rex. It's fine. Oh, did we lose another one? Yeah, we lost another.
I think we lost 2 there.
Yeah, we lost 2.
The boss, however, was incredibly easy to defeat. We didn't lose anything special except some Rexes with primitive saddles. And that's the monkey trophy collected. Now we only have one guardian boss left, which is the hardest one on the entire map. As soon as we got out of the arena, it was time to heal with Piggy. He went hungry instantly. Oh god, Piggy's already empty. Well, the known de-render thing still works for the pig, so it will get max food back once you leave the render distance. It was finally time to jump into the last guardian boss, the Dragon Alpha. I can say that the tension for this boss was extreme. My butt cheeks were clenching just for the anticipation of doing this boss. The game plan was to use the shotguns in between the UD roars, and Akisa's job was to heal the Rexes and shoot the dragon.
We just have to wait, really. Let's shoot the dragon when we're here. Oh god. Yeah, just shoot the dragon. Okay, I'm gonna put them on neutral so they can kill the dinosaurs.
Incoming fireball. Dragon going down.
Okay, just keep shooting him.
Oh, that did not look good.
Oh no, we lost Rexes.
Okay, they're just basic. They're the basic Rexes. Don't panic. I'm gonna go do some piguing.
Good. Just keep healing them. Oh, we lost 1. We lost 2. They look very hurt, dude.
Bacon was now out of food, so we were just gonna have to deal with what we had left.
Pigu is out of food.
I'm gonna put the dinosaur on neutral. Here comes the fireball, Akisa.
I'm trying to get out of the way, but I'm even locked.
Just keep shooting him. Just keep shooting him if you can't do anything.
I know, I'm reloading.
This does not look good, dude. Come on, come on. It's like 10%, dude.
I've never reloaded a shotgun so fast in my life.
Come on, come on. We might actually have it, Akisa.
I think we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this, Mikey.
Yes!
Oh my god, I can't believe we did it.
With the defeat of the Alpha Dragon, we have now finally conquered all of the Guardian bosses and can proceed into fighting the last one. But we will have to give it a few days to heal some of the dinos up before we can continue. On day 95, Akisa wanted to show how to set up some class groups for the Rexes, so I would be in charge of all of the males. The time had finally come to start walking the Karshar up to the volcano. The Karshar will be the very one clearing everything in the cave. It was a bit of a tight fit getting him through here. Then all I had to do was to carry the Rexes up to the volcano in preparation,
because on day 98 is the very day to finally attempt taking on the Tech Cave and the Overseer boss on Alpha. Akisa wanted to take in a safety stego into the cave because she didn't have any faith in the Rexes alone for this fight. Unfortunately for Akisa, she wouldn't be able to use an otter because she's taking Doug into the Tech Cave.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I can't carry Doug with the otter.
You can't? And hopefully it will be fine without the otter. We were taking a few pictures as a memory of this great moment. It took a very long time just to get to this point. Alright, it was now day 98 and time to walk into the cave. We have to get in as many Rexes as possible before the door closes.
So now we're probably just gonna get whatever we can. 10 seconds, yeah, we're not gonna get those.
The door closed way before the timer actually ran out. What the heck? Oh well, it was time to try to clear the cave with the Karshar. The Karshar makes it so much easier to clear, way better than just using a regular Rexes, honestly. While I was clearing and killing a lot of dinos, Akisa was leading down the Rexes into the cave. It was a really good call to use the Karshar as well, since the cave dinos tend to be invisible for some odd reason. The only thing I just had to keep on doing was biting with the Karshar to make sure I would clear the whole path of dinos, even the invisible ones.
Once you're done with this room up here, though, we should bring everybody down so it's not as long of a walk for us.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Oh, I'm being microraptored. Okay, we got him. And then there's just one group left.
Then I was having some kind of weird graphics glitch and I thought my game was about to crash.
Oh! I don't know what's happening to my game.
The Rexes went into the ground. Like, that was so strange. Akisa was taking quite the time getting down to me. The reason for that was that the stego was just too slow. So Akisa had to leave it behind. We won't make it to the arena at this kind of pace. There was apparently a Giga straight in front of me and I couldn't even see him standing there.
I really don't see him. He's
It's
invisible.
directly in front of you before the pillar.
Like here? Karshar isn't losing an elf. Is there more dinos here? Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
I can't see them. Well, there's no more Gigas here, at least.
There could be.
Well, in this path here, I'm still clearing everything. There's a lot of microraptors I'm trying to get rid of.
This was the last stretch of clearing.
Does he look bloody at all to you?
It does.
Oh, he died.
All there was to it was to lead the Rexes through the ice barrier where it's supposed to be extremely cold. I also realized one important thing. My spare armor was left behind in my Rhino. We lined up all of the dinos. We had about 20 minutes left to defeat the Overseer boss and hopefully it would be enough time for it.
Okay, click. It's gonna take a minute, so... Oh, you have Doug still.
Finally, this is the last stretch here, boys.
This looks beautiful.
Oh, it is pretty.
Oh my god, look at the arena!
Akisa put Doug in a corner so he would hopefully survive through this battle.
All right, Doug, I'm gonna need you to stay there, okay? Stay safe.
Man, they have really revamped the whole fighting sequence in this arena. It's crazy how good this actually looks now.
I'm whistling them to attack.
Yeah, just put them on aggressive.
Okay, they're all on aggressive. you shooting the boss, Akisa?
I was stunned.
Oh, it's a monkey! Monkey, attack a monkey!
Oh, we got one form down.
2 more forms. Good job. One more form. Yes! Yes! Oh my god!
Oh yeah, don't go up there yet. I gotta grab Doug.
We killed the Overseer boss with 1 minute left on the timer. It also rewarded us with some shibis from what I could see on the recording. I did not pay attention to it at all while we were fighting the Overseer.
Is this what happiness felt like? Love? No. This is more like pride. Yes, that's it. I'm proud of you, Survivor. You've accomplished what few have. You've ascended. I once did too, when I was her. Helena. She was an explorer too. And like you, she traveled the arcs and discovered their secrets. You're following in her footsteps. Keep going. Discover what became of Helena and her friends. Survive the many challenges ahead, and you'll find me here waiting for you. Together, we may yet be able to save our world.
But hey, we might not have done exactly 100 days, but we beat it before day 100 was over at least. So apparently when I was gonna spawn in, I didn't have any beds to spawn on, and not only that, but we lost our whole inventory during the fight. I should have dumped it all on a dino, oh my god. So, with us defeating the Overseer, we unlocked the tech binoculars. So there was a drop coming down at the Kisa's base, so we made a tech replicator. And I wanna say, it was freaking massive. Oh my god! We managed to place it down by my base and take a look at those tech binoculars. It works exactly like an awesome spyglass. It shows the stats, mutations, and points you put on a dino. This is kinda cool as well. You can apparently track your targets with the spyglass too. To be honest though, I do think it's kinda stupid that it's locked behind the replicator. They should have at least made it so you could make it from the fabricator.
Oh my god.
Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this 100 days of ASA the island, and more will be coming as well as modded overhauls once those comes out. This video marks my first year of doing 100 days videos on YouTube. It's crazy how fast time moves on. But yeah, for this video, it's taken me a really long time to record and edit this one, and I would really appreciate if you guys can smash that like button and possibly subscribe for more interesting videos I have planned for the future. Anyways, I hope you guys will have a great Christmas holiday season, and I'll see you guys in the next one.